welcome to the Shiproom. You're on the air.
Looks like he needs help.
Yeah, I'll go with that too. All right.
Okay. My guest today has the distinction of co-founding a tech startup that writes about tech startups and tech startups that are starting up in tech. Please welcome the editor of GeekWire, Todd Bishop. It's so good to see you again, Todd.
Good to see you, Brad.
I'm sure that you hear from IT pros all the time. They reach out to you. What are like the common kinds of concerns or questions, or what are you hearing?
It's interesting because a lot of it is coming back around with things that people have been concerned about in the past. Clearly, security remains very much top of mind.
Sure.
Obviously, there have been solutions that have come up to address the bring your own device problems. But overall, you know, the issues with security, ransomware, all that stuff is what people talk about, but quietly. You know, I think people are concerned about, especially talking to a journalist, making it look as if they are in the spotlight for having a security issue, when in reality it's something that everybody faces.
Yeah, and I think that the point that we try to tell everyone is you have to assume that you've been breached. The sophistication of the attacks, the sophistication of the attackers is world class. You know, so we have to have these abilities. You know, most organizations have spent billions of dollars, you know, building out defenses. You have to keep doing that, but you also have to have world-class detection and world-class response capabilities, because you will be breached.
Yep.
And I think that's what many organizations are not comfortable saying, you know, hey, we have to assume breach because it tends to signal a weakness, and you're prepared, because that's the reality.
I do think that there's a risk in going with a major cloud provider because of potential lock-in, but to the extent that you can ride the coattails of all the security work.
That's right, you're actually more secure if you're up in the cloud.
Exactly, and I think that to me is one of the big reasons to consider, even more than they might already be, getting off premises and getting into the cloud.
So you've been getting press releases from companies for decades now.
Yeah.
You've seen every terrible tech buzzword. So look, I'm gonna put all that expertise to work for a minute. So with a straight face, you know, we need to use this in a real world scenario or real world sentence. You know, one of the great things that we've seen as we've been building all of our cloud services together is because we bring all that data together, what it provides us is the synergized deliverable platform for flex outputs.
Did you just add synergize to that?
No, that was in it.
It was in there, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of this one in more of a journalistic standpoint. Maybe, we're working on a variety of stories today, and I think that perhaps I need to reprioritize this, because we need some re-architected bandwidth modulation storage protocols for that image that you're about to upload to go with that story.
That's awesome. You know, one of the things that we've noticed as people have been starting to use OneDrive for Business is they go into a co-authoring model. It increases their productivity, but also it gives them this collaborative cross-unit back-end engagement for their files, which is unparalleled.
Wait, is that like for real? Are you
No, that's why I made that up.
Are you making these up? All right, so yeah, I'll think of journalism again. You know, we've got a lot of stories going on today, and I do need somebody to shift from one story to another. So let's have a parallel task Wow. So let's have a parallel task rescrumpulence protocols on this one, yes. All right.
You see firsthand companies that are succeeding and those that are struggling.
Yeah.
Okay. Besides the obvious things, what are the things that great companies are doing really well, and the things that organizations that are struggling, what are the mistakes that they're making?
I've been really struck over the past few years by the ability of companies that have actually been around for a while to break through. I think having a clear vision, and a clear vision that also is basically product market fit, where it is something that the market agrees, the base of consumers, the people out there agree is needed, and then you have a vision for getting there. I think that really has been the common thing that I've seen in the companies that have succeeded.
And that's advice that we can all take to heart, you know, whether we're leading a team of 5, whether we're a CIO, whether we're the founder and the CEO of a startup. Have a clear vision of where you want to take, you know, your organization. And so focus on the experience that you're going to give your users. And I think if you have that clear vision and you focus on the experience, I mean, religiously focus on the experience, you'll have a winner. So GeekWire is super well known for its great coverage of startups.
Yes.
You've seen quite a few come and go. So with that expertise in mind, we're going to play another game here called Startup or Made Up.
Oh my gosh, this sounds great.
Okay. Meat bag. An all-natural compostable travel bag made from cured and dried meats.
That's fake.
Yeah, you're right. Pooch Finder, a Tinder-style app that tells you your proximity to dogs that you can pet.
If that's not real, it should be.
Toilet Tycoon, ultra-premium, high-end luxury bathroom designs.
Another one that should be real if it's not.
Hunger Pings, a health monitoring app that alerts you via text message when you're hungry.
That's fake.
I already know
Come
that
on.
one, right? Mortgage Hippo.
I'd say that's real.
Mo Bagel.
Oh, that's real.
Lunch Badger, cloud management service.
Fake.
That was real.
Oh man, I was doing so
Lunch
well.
Badger. Rhinoceros Rental, a rental service for armored cars and personal security.
That's real.
Fake. Carrot Fertility, a fertility treatment management app.
Fake.
That one is actually real.
Oh my gosh.
Rent a Ruminant, a company that rents goats for a more sustainable, eco-friendly way to mow your lawn.
That's real.
That one actually is real. I've actually seen them before.
Yes.
There's one other thing that just started up recently that really caught my attention. It has to do with you and Steve Ballmer
Yes.
doing a podcast.
We are doing a new podcast called Numbers Geek. And
Oh my gosh, that describes Steve to the T.
Exactly. The notion of everything happening out in the world being so political these days, I think, and so passionate and sometimes theatrical to the point that people
Sometimes?
to the point that people really aren't focusing on facts and data. And Steve started a nonprofit called USA Facts, and they basically treat government data as if it were a company's performance, and they put together annual reports.
Fascinating.
It's really cool stuff. And so we have started this podcast, and the whole idea is that we are understanding and illuminating through numbers, data, and facts.
Now, your organization does in-depth reporting, data gathering, you're out in the world getting stories. How do you support that mobile, team, and how do you make sure your people can collaborate and work together independent of where they are?
Things have changed so much just in terms of the overall mobility and the ability to work from everywhere. The thing for me, though, is I still need a place where I can sit down, plug in, and have a big external monitor.
There are times when I have to do like what I call hardcore work.
Yes.
And I need a big screen, I need a keyboard, I need a mouse.
Yes.
And then I have light work, I predominantly do that on my phone.
Yep.
And my ability to seamlessly be able to move across all of those in a way that, it understands who I am, what my unique needs are, my context, that's been revolutionizing how I work.
And I think there's an increasing awareness, too, of the need for people to unplug, too. And I think one of the most fascinating things that we've seen over the last couple of years is the automated unplugging, whether you're in the car or at home, or the monitoring of how long you've been using a device.
So the whole time we've been talking, this machine learning bot has been listening.
Yep.
And then
Of
using
course.
adaptive analytics, it's come up with the 12 most pertinent questions for you and I to finish up with. We're also going to try to solve the Rubik's Cube while we're doing this.
Now this is the simple Rubik's Cube. It's not the 10 by...
Start the clock. Pick a juice, orange, apple, or beetle.
How can you be presented with that and not say beetle? Are we competing against each other here?
I'll lose, and so no. How many Oreos do you think you can fit in your mouth at once?
Oh, yes. Okay, at least this many. Most
Would you rather win the Office Chili Cook-Off or March Madness Bowl? How many times in 2018 did you fake a phone call to get out of a boring conversation?
5.
Is Kanye West actually a musical genius?
Oh, yeah.
What subject would you tell someone to never major in?
Journalism.
Journalism. Would you rather have to talk like a pirate or an auctioneer for the rest of your life?
Awesome.
So I'm going to go back to one of the questions you asked Paul Allen in
Yes.
2011. Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars, or Star Trek?
I've always been a Star Trek guy. I have a hard time getting into all the Star Wars mythology. Battlestar Galactica seemed just like a knockoff to me. Oh my God, don't put that in there. I'm gonna get killed.
Before you go, tell me where everyone can learn more about GeekWire and about Todd Bishop.
Obviously, GeekWire.com, but you can follow me on Twitter at Todd Bishop. Todd with 2 Ds, Bishop, just like the chess piece.
And your new podcast?
It is GeekWire.com/numbersgeek.
I'm a huge fan of the things that you publish. I constantly follow you, and I appreciate your willingness to come in and to spend a little bit of time with us today.
Thank you so much, Brad.
Thank you.
And I hope you could hear everything I was saying through the Oreos.
Well, if not, we'll subtitle it.
And the reason I would say don't major... Oh, wow.
Oh!